Impossible. 100 rated chess, but if you can move a piece or pawn to your opponent's side of the board, you must. This guy is so confident he thinks he actually made an impossible challenge. Little did he know. Way too easy. We get a 160 from Indonesia. d4. Okay, so it's quite obvious that I should not be pushing any center pawns, which opens up my bishops and then I'm forced to move them to the other side of the board. c6. c6 opens up a queen's diagonal, only this diagonal doesn't touch the opponent's side of the board, so the challenge won't be activated. e3. Not very aggressive. Okay, with the pawn on c6, I think I can develop my bishop. b6. Knight c3. Bishop b7. Normally
Fianchetto.
bishop means that bishop can see a lot of squares on opponent's side of the board, but the pawn on c6 is blocking the eye of the bishop. I will only have to find a good chance to open up the bishop for an immediate exchange in the future. Knight f3. Aha! Now I can open up my bishop for a quick exchange, but c5 right now comes with a risk of being forced to waste one more move on c4, moving the c-pawn into opponent half of the board. I'll say we delay the move for now. d6. There is no more bishop on c8, the d-pawn is now safe to push. a3. Knight d7. Knight c6 or knight a6 would have been forced to be followed by advancing to opponent's half. Knight d7, not seeing any squares on the other side, will not be activating the challenge. b4. Very aggressive. g6. b5. Aha! Now I'll open up my bishop. Alright, this bishop will be forced to move to opponent's side of the board, therefore preferably it can capture the opponent's knight, and the difference between now and before is that he can immediately capture my b-pawn with his pieces, which saves me from wasting another move of pawn to b4. Exactly. Bishop takes f3 is kinda forced. Queen takes f3. Okay. Now comes the real problem. He's threatening bishop takes d7 check, which if I take with my queen, the maiden will be forced to go to opponent's side of the board, which means I will have to consider recapturing with my king, and after thinking about the position for a while, I have an idea. Pawn to e6. Opening up my queen's diagonal to opponent's half doesn't sound like a very thoughtful move, but I actually have a plan. Trust. Bishop takes d7. King takes d7. Queen takes f7 check. Aha! Since I have emptied the e7 square, queen to e7. My queen cannot go to h4 anymore, because she is pinned. Now please trade. Exactly. Knight takes e7. Yes. Trading off the most valuable piece is definitely a massive progress. It is still very difficult to win this game though, but trading everything and head to a pawn endgame is the best continuation I can make. Knight b5. a6. Knight back to c3. Okay, I see there is a safe square here. Rook to c8. Putting the rook on an open diagonal, best case scenario we'll win some materials, if not then there is also rook to c4. A very safe square which pretty much no enemy piece can easily attack. Opponent abandoned the game. Mission accomplished.